Why did you choose your major? There was never just one definitive moment that made me choose a marketing major. It was just a conglomerate of growing up, classes I've taken, and situations I've been in. My mom likes to tell a story about how when I was 10 years old, I went into the fridge, grabbed a roll of Toll House cookies, baked them, went out in front of our house, and sold them. Fast forward a few years to high school, I joined an organization called DECA. This is where my first actual experience of the business and marketing world came in. There were 3 sophomores that were able to make it to the state competition my sophomore year, and I was one of them. Once arriving at state, I realized I was completely out of my comfort zone, and I liked it. I was able to start networking with other students my age and be completely immersed in a business culture. With over 2,000 like-minded individuals from all around the state, I was able to start introducing and marketing myself. When I was a senior in high school, my business class ran the student store. This was my first look at the behind-the-scenes workings of a business. Since we were a $50,000 business, I really got to see how everything worked. After going through these experiences, I realized my talents were best used if I continued to learn about marketing. Now that I'm in college, I'm actually the marketing chair in an organization called Phi Beta Lambda, or Future Business Leaders of America. This is what really made me get into the business and marketing major. What are your 3 greatest strengths? My 3 greatest strengths are determination, leadership, and decision making. When working at 911 driving school, I noticed that the cars were not on a regular maintenance schedule. I decided to take it upon myself to create a full service schedule. At first, my boss was slightly against this idea, but I was determined to get the cars the maintenance they required so we could continue keeping the kids safe. Eventually, she allowed me to go ahead with the maintenance program. After some time of changing the oil, rotating the tires, checking the coolant, and performing other basic maintenance tasks by myself, I decided to employ the help of some coworkers and teach them how to perform these tasks. Leading others through this process and teaching them at the same time showed me that leading is one of my greatest characteristics. Throughout this entire process, I was able to efficiently and effectively decide what needed to happen and follow through with it, bringing me to my 3rd characteristic of decision making. I saw what the problem was and was able to figure out the solutions and steps that needed to be taken to eradicate the problem. What is your greatest weakness? Being organized was never my strongest skill, but over the years I have been able to effectively create a program that I've implemented on my own life to stay organized. Although many people nowadays utilize phones, laptops, and other electronic devices to remind them of appointments, meetings, etc., I find it most effective to write down the tasks that I need to accomplish. This is beneficial in 2 ways. First, being able to physically write down these tasks, your brain creates a better association and can potentially remember important deadlines or meetings better. Second, you now have a written agenda of what needs to be accomplished, which allows you to once again physically cross off the accomplished tasks, which for someone like me is actually quite rewarding. After implementing this in my life, I noticed that I was able to keep up with all of my responsibilities much better. I felt more on top of my life and everything that I needed to get done, which increased all other aspects. If hired at your company, I would love to teach others the methods that have worked in getting my life more organized in hopes it would help them too. Tell me about a time you had a conflict at work. I was in charge of designing a bulletin board at work and with a pretty aggressive deadline. One of the members on my committee was outraged by the deadline and said a few harsh words to me after our meeting. I was surprised by this outrage, and instead of yelling back at him, I took him aside after the meeting, tried calming him down, and explained that I would be able to delegate certain parts of the bulletin board out to the whole committee. This would ensure that each part of the board was accomplished. This calmed him down, and he realized that he overreacted, and later apologized because he spoke out of turn, thus creating a more workable environment for everyone involved. How do you define leadership? Leadership is the ability to rally a person or group of people regardless of the situation. Being able to encourage the people around you and not focus on your own wants and needs builds a strong leader. A leader also knows when to step out in front and guide their team to accomplish the goal, but also knows when to step back and delegate more responsibilities to others. The biggest accomplishment a leader could ever achieve would be to teach others well enough that eventually they become effective leaders themselves. Above all, leadership is influenced by your own thoughts and actions.